Hashtag when love becomes a battlefield, the Sonia Uche and Maurice Sam drama that has Nigeria choosing sides. The Nigerian internet has officially lost its collective mind, and this time it's not over politics, fuel prices, or another celebrity breakup. No, this time millions of people have appointed themselves as relationship experts, analyzing every laugh, every smile, and every behind-the-scenes moment between two Nollywood stars who probably just want to do their jobs in peace. Sonia Uche and Maurice Sam have become the unwilling subject of the most heated compatibility debate since someone asked whether pineapple belongs on pizza. The battlefield lines are drawn, the keyboards are loaded, and fans are going to war over whether Maurice's playful nature makes him relationship material or a walking red flag. But here's the plot twist that has everyone's blood pressure rising. What if the very traits that have fans clutching their pearls are exactly what make this potential pairing so intriguingly perfect? The drama began innocently enough, as most social media storms do, with fans dissecting every interaction between the two stars like they were analyzing evidence in a murder trial. Maurice, with his infectious energy and constant stream of jokes, became the poster child for the guy who never grew up, while Sonia transformed into the embodiment of the woman who has her life together. Suddenly, every behind-the-scenes clip became a psychological study, with amateur relationship coaches emerging from the woodwork to offer their unsolicited expertise. Fans started keeping scorecards of how many times Maurice made jokes versus how many times Sonia remained composed, as if their compatibility could be measured by some bizarre humor-to-seriousness ratio. The internet turned into a giant group therapy session where everyone was discussing someone else's relationship while probably ignoring the issues in their own lives. Critics of this potential romance have come out swinging with warnings that sound like they were written by a concerned Nigerian mother who's watched one too many Lifetime movies. They've labeled Maurice's playfulness as a red flag so massive it could be seen from space, painting him as the type of man who would show up late to his own wedding because he stopped to tell jokes to strangers on the street. These self-appointed relationship guardians have convinced themselves that a man who enjoys making people laugh is automatically incapable of serious conversation, as if the ability to bring joy somehow cancels out emotional intelligence. They speak of Maurice like he's a ticking time bomb of immaturity, warning that his jokes today will become his excuse for avoiding responsibility tomorrow. The way they tell it, you'd think being naturally cheerful was a personality disorder that required immediate intervention. Meanwhile, the pressure on Sonia to maintain her image of perfection has reached levels that would make a presidential campaign manager nervous. Her fans have built her up as this untouchable symbol of discipline and focus, someone who probably color codes her dreams and sets 5 different alarms to ensure she wakes up with the perfect amount of determination. They've created such an impossibly high standard for her that even being caught smiling at Maurice's jokes feels like a betrayal of everything she represents. These protective fans speak of her brand with the reverence usually reserved for religious artifacts, as if one moment of spontaneous laughter could somehow destroy years of hard work and reputation building. They've essentially trapped her in a prison of their own expectations, where being human and enjoying someone's company becomes a liability rather than a natural response to genuine connection. The fear among Sonia's defenders runs so deep you'd think they were protecting national security rather than discussing a potential relationship. They worry that Maurice's carefree nature could somehow contaminate her carefully cultivated image of seriousness, as if joy were a contagious disease that could spread through proximity. These fans have convinced themselves that successful women must choose between happiness and respect, that you can't be both accomplished and genuinely enjoy life with someone who makes you laugh. They paint Maurice as a threat to everything she's worked for, completely missing the irony that they are essentially advocating for her to live a joyless existence in service of public perception. The way they talk about protecting her from happiness makes you wonder if they've confused love with a hostile takeover attempt. On the other side of this digital battlefield, Maurice's army of supporters has mobilized with the dedication of fans defending their favorite superhero. They argue that being naturally playful doesn't automatically disqualify someone from being a good partner, pointing out that some of the world's most successful relationships involve people who know how to balance work with genuine enjoyment of life. These fans see Maurice's humor as a rare gift in a world that's often too heavy and stressful, arguing that Sonia could actually benefit from someone who reminds her that success doesn't require sacrificing every moment of spontaneous joy. They've positioned Maurice as the perfect antidote to a life lived too seriously, someone who could teach the importance of finding lightness even in the midst of building empires. To them, Maurice isn't a distraction from Sonia's goals, he's exactly what every driven person needs to prevent them from becoming a perfectly polished but emotionally empty version of themselves. The personality clash debate has reached soap opera levels of intensity, with fans creating elaborate doomsday scenarios about how their differences might destroy everything from family dinners to business meetings. Team Sonia envisions Maurice's inappropriate humor derailing important conversations about future planning, or worse, his jokes being misunderstood by her sophisticated social circle as a sign that she's lowered her standards. They fear that his natural tendency to find humor in serious situations might be interpreted as disrespect or immaturity when the stakes are high. Meanwhile, Team Maurice argues that opposites don't just attract, they complete each other, suggesting that Sonia's seriousness might actually be a protective shell that Maurice's genuine warmth could help her shed. They see a future where his playfulness doesn't diminish her accomplishments but rather adds a dimension of humanity that makes her even more relatable and inspiring to others. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this entire controversy is how Sonia has handled the chaos with the strategic silence of a chess grandmaster planning her next move. While thousands of people debate her romantic future with the passion of political analysts during election season, she has remained as quiet as a library during finals week, refusing to give the speculation any fuel. Her silence has become its own form of entertainment, with fans desperately searching for clues in every social media post, every public appearance, and every micro-expression captured by cameras. Some interpret her quietude as evidence of her maturity and focus on more important matters, while others wonder if she's secretly amused by watching strangers dissect her personal life with scientific precision. The mystery of her thoughts has transformed her into an enigma that makes the entire situation even more captivating, as everyone tries to decode whether her silence means indifference, strategy, or perhaps quiet enjoyment of the chaos. Maurice, staying true to his naturally jovial personality, has navigated this unexpected storm with the grace of someone who's comfortable being himself regardless of public opinion. His cryptic response about "too many opinions, not enough facts" sent the internet into overdrive, with fans analyzing every word like they were deciphering ancient hieroglyphics. Some saw it as his diplomatic way of dismissing critics without stooping to their level, while others interpreted it as frustration with having his entire personality reduced to sound bites and speculation. His refusal to apologize for being naturally cheerful or to modify his behavior to appease critics has actually earned him more respect from people who appreciate authenticity over people-pleasing. The fact that he's doubling down on his genuine self, despite the scrutiny, has transformed him into something of a champion for people who believe you shouldn't have to dim your natural light to make others comfortable with your presence. Industry colleagues have begun dropping cryptic comments that sound like wisdom from relationship gurus, suggesting that humor and playfulness can actually strengthen rather than weaken romantic partnerships. These seemingly innocent observations have added jet fuel to an already blazing controversy, with fans now passing every statement from their favorite stars to determine which side of the great Maurice-Sonia divide they are supporting. Some colleagues have shared personal anecdotes about how laughter saved their own relationships during difficult times, while others have emphasized the importance of finding someone who brings balance rather than mirror images of themselves. The fact that people within the entertainment industry appear to be taking subtle sides has elevated this from fan speculation to what feels like a legitimate cultural referendum on what Nigerian society values in relationships and whether our expectations for public figures have become unreasonably rigid. What makes this entire phenomenon so compelling is how it's accidentally become a mirror reflecting our deepest cultural anxieties about love, success, and authenticity. Fans aren't just debating whether Maurice and Sonia would make a good couple, they're essentially arguing about what kinds of personalities deserve love, what makes someone worthy of respect, and whether it's possible to be both successful and genuinely happy. The harsh criticism of Maurice's natural joy reveals something troubling about how we view spontaneity and emotional expression, while the impossible standards placed on Sonia demonstrate the crushing pressure we put on accomplished women to be perfect at all times. This controversy has become an accidental social experiment that's exposing our collective biases about who gets to be human in public and who must maintain an image of constant composure. The brutal truth is that whether Maurice and Sonia are actually romantically involved or simply two professionals caught in the crossfire of fan projection, this entire debate has revealed more about our own relationship insecurities than it has about their compatibility. We've all become invested in a narrative that we're essentially writing ourselves, using these two people as characters in our own stories about what love should look like and how successful people should behave. Maybe the real question isn't whether Maurice is too playful for Sonia or whether Sonia is too focused for Maurice. Maybe we should be asking ourselves why we feel so entitled to have opinions about strangers' romantic choices and why we're so uncomfortable with the possibility that two completely different personality types might actually create something beautiful together. So here's a radical idea. What if we step back from our keyboards, put down our relationship scorecards, and let two grown adults figure out their own lives without our running commentary? But since we're already here, drop a comment and tell us the truth. Are you team playful, team serious, or team let people live their lives? The comment section is about to become more entertaining than the original controversy.